2:14 in the morning, 50 miles off Venezuela's coast, a U.S. Navy carrier group cuts through shallow waters, unaware that 3 Venezuelan diesel-electric submarines are already in place below, forming a torpedo kill box. One mistake could mean hundreds dead, and a spark that ignites the entire region. But tonight, the subs target the wrong ship, and everything that follows shatters their ambush plans. Here is how it began. The carrier group pushes ahead through a narrow stretch of Caribbean Sea, every ship on high alert. This is no open ocean. Beneath their hulls, the bottom rises to just 50 meters in places, rarely dropping below 200 meters. Shallow water means sound bounces off the seabed and the surface, scattering sonar signals and hiding threats in layers of shifting temperature. Diesel-electric submarines thrive in these conditions, especially at night. Running on batteries, they move almost silently, blending into the background noise of the sea. Even a state-of-the-art destroyer's sonar can struggle to pick out a low, slow-moving submarine from the clutter. The carrier, flanked by 2 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers and a single frigate, forms the heart of the task group. Each vessel brings its own sensors and weapons, but in these waters, the technology edge shrinks. The group's mission is to assert freedom of navigation through a corridor that connects vital oil lanes. Yet every captain knows the risk. A single torpedo strike could cripple a billion-dollar warship and cost hundreds of lives in seconds. Venezuela's submarines, armed with German-made heavyweight torpedoes, see this patchwork of shallows and thermoclines as home turf. They can slip under layers of warm and cold water, using the temperature differences to bend sound and mask their approach. In the Cold War, US and Soviet navies spent decades playing cat and mouse in deep oceans. Here, the game changes. Every mile forward brings the carrier group closer to the edge, where a hidden submarine could be waiting just beneath the surface, ready to strike. Signals intelligence analysts at the regional command center pore over satellite images captured just after midnight. 3 distinct wakes, sharp and narrow, cut across the dark water near Puerto Cabello, each one trailing behind what appears to be a snorkeling submarine. The timing is no accident. All 3 boats departed within a 2-hour window, a pattern that sets off alarms among watch officers. Overlapping reports from coastal sonar nets confirm the movement. The sensors, strung along the Venezuelan shelf, catch the low-frequency hum of diesel engines running at periscope depth before the subs vanish into battery-powered silence. In Washington, encrypted bursts from Allied listening posts suggest increased chatter on naval frequencies. Analysts cross-reference these intercepts with the satellite data, building a picture of coordinated intent rather than routine patrols. The fusion cell flags the event for the carrier group's commander. 3 submarines, likely Type 209 submarines, are now unaccounted for and could be lying in wait along the group's projected route. Within the task group, the Tactical Action Officer updates the threat board. Operation Silent Shield moves to its next phase. Destroyers and frigates shift sonar protocols, switching from standard patrol patterns to a defensive posture designed for contested littorals. Every contact, no matter how faint, is logged and tracked. The intelligence summary warns of the possibility that the subs have set up an ambush box, a mapped zone ahead where their firing arcs could overlap, maximizing the chance of a kill. The carrier's bridge receives the update. The threat is no longer theoretical. The group is sailing toward a trap, and every decision from here must weigh the risk of first contact against the need to hold course. The ambush box stretches 20 nautical miles long and 15 nautical miles wide, forming a triangle where the 3 submarines can cover every possible approach. Each submarine holds a corner, and their firing arcs overlap in the center, creating a crossfire zone 8 to 12 kilometers deep. This geometry forces the carrier group to run a gauntlet. No matter which way they turn, at least one submarine can launch a torpedo within seconds. To counter this, the U.S. task group layers its defenses across the water column. The lead destroyer deploys its ANSQS-53C hull-mounted sonar, sweeping ahead for any sign of a submerged threat. Behind it, the towed array deploys out to 40 nautical miles, listening for the low-frequency hum of a submarine propeller. The frigate on the group flank covers the shallows near the continental shelf, its sonar tuned for contacts hiding in seabed noise. Above, an MH-60R Seahawk helicopter circles, lowering a dipping sonar into the water and scattering sonobuoys along the projected route. Each sonobuoy acts as an underwater microphone, relaying live sound back to the ships. A P-8, a Poseidon patrol aircraft, orbits high overhead, ready to drop dozens more sonobuoys or use magnetic anomaly detection to pinpoint a submerged hull. Every asset is assigned a slice of the kill box, and their coverage overlaps to leave no gap. Weapons stand ready. Mark 54 torpedoes, guided by wire or by onboard sonar, can reach out 10 nautical miles. Nixie decoys trail behind the ships, prepared to lure incoming torpedoes off course. Every watchstander knows their zone. In these waters, the difference between detection and surprise comes down to seconds. 12 nautical miles ahead of the lead destroyer, a faint, almost imperceptible trace appears on the towed array waterfall display. In the sonar room, operators lean in, headphones pressed tight, deciphering a blur of static from the background noise. The contact flickers in and out, barely enough for a classification, but just enough to raise every pulse on the bridge. No one speaks above a whisper. Every sound, every vibration in the hull feels amplified. On the submarines, captains watch stopwatch needles sweep by, waiting for the carrier to cross into their firing arcs. Crews hold their breath as battery meters tick down, hands poised over firing panels, aware that a single wrong move could betray their position. Above, the flight deck stays dark. Pilots wait in cockpits, ready to launch at a moment's notice. The destroyer captain weighs the risk of turning on active sonar, knowing a sonar ping could light up the water and trigger a torpedo launch. Seconds stretch. The first acoustic trace might be a wail, a trick of the thermocline, or the opening note of an attack. In these moments, the pressure is almost physical. Every decision carries the weight of lives and ships, with the line between hunter and hunted razor thin. At 2:19 a.m., the first torpedo salvo breaks the silence. 4 heavyweight torpedoes launch from the lead Venezuelan submarine, wires trailing behind as they slice through the water at over 40 knots. Within seconds, alarms blare across the carrier group. On the destroyer's bridge, the tactical action officer shouts orders. The helm swings hard 30 degrees, and engines surge to flank speed. The frigate trailing the group deploys its Nixie decoy, a cable-fed noisemaker designed to mimic the ship's acoustic signature and draw torpedoes away. 2 incoming tracks veer off, chasing the decoy into empty water. The other torpedoes keep coming, closing the gap by hundreds of meters every minute. In the sonar room, operators call out bearing changes as the torpedo signatures multiply. The MH-60R helicopter hovers low, dipping its sonar into the sea, searching for the attack's origin. Sonobuoys scatter from the P-8 overhead, flooding the kill zone with data. The destroyer's countermeasures deploy in tandem. Another Nixie trails aft, and the ship launches a pattern of evasive turns, hoping to break the torpedo's lock. Every crew member braces for impact, the seconds stretching as the threat draws closer. The carrier, shielded by its escorts, launches a second helicopter. Above and below, every system and every sailor is locked into a breathless fight for survival. A sudden metallic screech cuts through the sonar room as the lead submarine's torpedo wire snaps, sending an urgent acoustic pulse through the water. The torpedo's seeker becomes untethered and switches to active mode, its sonar ping echoing like a flare in the dark. That single electronic shout betrays the submarine's position to every sensor in the kill box. The destroyer's fire control locks on, and a Mark 54 torpedo launches in response, homing in on the noise. Aboard the Venezuelan submarine, alarms ring as the crew scrambles to dive deeper. But the Mark 54 closes the gap in seconds. Impact shutters the hull, and the submarine lurches to the side as compartments begin flooding. The flank submarines, hearing the chaos, attempt a desperate follow-up. One fires a blind spread, the other tries to reposition, but their battery noise spikes on the towed array. Anti-submarine warfare helicopters converge, dropping sonobuoys and launching another torpedo. One submarine manages to dive beneath a thermal layer, but the other is caught in the open and forced to surface as pressure mounts. The hunters have become the hunted, all because a single acoustic slip shattered the illusion of stealth. In the aftermath, the carrier group holds formation, every sailor aware just how close disaster came. One torpedo missed by only 200 meters. Today, over 40 nations operate more than 400 diesel-electric submarines, many as quiet as Venezuela's. Each unplanned encounter beneath contested seas risks a crisis in real time. In an era of near-invisible threats, the margin between deterrence and disaster remains razor-thin. How would your country respond if the next ambush is real?